What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. Welcome to another overview show where we take a look back at this past weekend's action from the Premier League. I'm joined this week by my good bro, Rory Jennings. What's happening, bro? How you doing?
Yeah, brilliant, man. Thank you so much for having me on, Flex.
Oh, it's always fun. It's always fun. Shout out Josh on the thumbnail with Rory and the dog. How was the dog?
The dog's wicked, man. Yeah. The dog's wicked. Yeah, it's my best mate. My only mate sometimes, if you look down my Twitter feed.
Oh, Rory, honestly, you are something else. Only Rory would. I said to Rory, send me some pictures one time so I could put them on the thumbnail. There's ones with him at the racing. There's one with him at dogs. So I'm just like,
Thing is, I don't know how people do that. I think there is an art form to like creating that face for the good thumbnail, but it doesn't come naturally to me. So like, even when we work or like with certain brands and stuff, Flex, and they go, oh. Any pictures? I'm like, oh, yeah, just look down my Instagram account. Whatever you can find on Instagram, you can use. Like, I don't care. Like, whatever you want.
I'm just with Rory and it's a random Lidl's, just in Lidl's, just getting the shopping. It's like, yeah, you put that up. You don't care. Fun. You're not like that. You're not poster boy. You're not poster boy. We've got a lot to get into, man. Both our teams lost. No points for both of us for different reasons, different types of performances. We'll start. We'll start with your team. We always start with Man United here, but let's start with your team because it was Chelsea's first loss of the season as well.
Yeah.
In a game that Pep dominated, Man City dominated, not a shot on target for Chelsea, 60-odd% possession for Man City, and I was tipping you guys to win in the Premier League preview I'd done the week before. I thought you'd win quite comfortably. I thought 2-0. But just as people start to put a bit of disrespect on Pep's name, and we spoke about it on the Triple Eight stuff about. Has he got his number? He's rattled by him. Pep just went, listen, I'm still me. Don't forget that.
Totally. That's what it was, wasn't it? It was a reminder. It was a prompt for us all to remember that Pep Guardiola is Pep Guardiola and does have answers to solutions to problems that are posed by various managers. Thomas Tuchel, as we established, has got a really proud track record against him. But that didn't look like that. It didn't look that way the other day. I thought Man City, though, if we make it about Chelsea or we make it about Tuchel, whatever, I think that's a little bit it's a little bit out of order on Man City because they blew us away. They were so good. And do you know what, Flex? If you were to mark their players out of 10, every single player is probably a minimum. Like their worst player was a 9 out of 10. They were mesmerising. They were so good. They were stroking it around so well. They were cutting through us at will. Bearing in mind, the only goal that we conceded prior to that game was a Lukaku penalty. Nobody scored against us from open play. They were cutting through. They should have won 5. The only thing that could be seen as maybe a light for everyone else, like if you don't support City and you have aspirations of winning the league, there's one thing that you can cling on to here. They're wasteful. They're so wasteful. Like they should have scored. It should have been 5-0. It honestly
easily. It should have been. Yeah, I see the highlight. And in the highlights, obviously, I was coming back from my game at the time. And when I watched the highlights of Match of the Day and then some of the extended ones, there was no Chelsea highlights. Or that one, I think the coach had shot wide or something like that. But there's nothing.
No.
When the highlights just don't show you anything from the other team, like, oh, they must have not done anything.
The best moment that we had, it didn't actually result in a shot on goal at all. But the best moment that we had, this is clutching at straws here, aren't I? But there was a moment when we broke very well. I think Alonso played Werner down the left. Werner sort of dummied to go one way, went the other way, whipped it in with his left foot, and Lukaku was coming in on it. Had he made contact with that, he would have probably scored, and that would have put Chelsea 1-0 up. But apart from that gentle scare that Man City had, they were supreme. They were far, far better than us. I don't think it's necessarily a big issue that Chelsea didn't have a shot on target. I think Man City was so good that it doesn't necessarily matter. But it does bring out that old question. Do you remember when Lukaku was at Manchester United? Does he score against the big teams? Is he a big
what
game
are you saying about that? What are you saying? People
No, I'm disregarding
doorstep again.
I'm disregarding it. Yeah, I'm disregarding it. I don't think it's relevant. Also, Flex, I can remember being at a game when Lukaku was playing for Man United and he scored against Chelsea. So it does happen. It does happen.
Yeah, he scored a good goal as well.
Yeah, it does happen. But I'm sure that he would acknowledge that his track record could be slightly stronger in these big games, but he had no options. He had no opportunities. I think we got it wrong a little bit tactically. We went a bit defensive. Maybe we were up for a point. We were ahead of them in the league already. Sometimes you just want to preserve that, don't you? And you think if you just match their results from now to the end of the season. So a draw would have been fine, but they were worthy winners, man.
They were solid. Yeah, I think it's. I had Darren Bent on overview last week, and someone put a super chat saying, "Oh, could you rank the 20 managers in the league?" And Darren just went, he goes, "Oh, might not be able to do all that, but I tell you who is top. Tell you who is first. Thomas Tuchel, mate." And I said, "What?" Like I said, he's done well. I said he's done well, but I said Pep's just won the league, and even away from that, I was like, Pep's changed the face of football, like a whole generation. And I was like, Klopp's won amazing stuff. Like you can't just say Tuchel's been here for 8 months or however long he's been here and say he's the best manager in the league. And he's like, "No, I'm telling you, yeah, he is." And people were getting into him. And then the way the game played out was literally like Pep heard Darren Bent say, you know, like you're not the best manager in the league, because it was very tactical.
Do you know, I can see where Darren Bent's coming from. There was some reasons to say that. Like the way that Thomas Tuchel has landed at Chelsea, changed the shape of the club, launched us to the Champions League, secured Champions League. Like there are lots of reasons. But yes, I think recency bias is a thing, isn't it?
Yeah, he ain't even won a Premier League title. Like he hasn't even had the time to win a Premier League title. I understand that. So just reserve that judgment of saying he's the best until he even has a full. I'm just like, that's got to be so premature. Like,
yeah, I'd agree with that. I would agree. I think that's probably a fair assessment. And look, if it ever was in doubt that maybe Pep Guardiola, because do you know what as well? The situation going into this game, I think for the first time in years, I was going into a game against Man City thinking that Chelsea were a better team, thinking that Chelsea were going to win. In years, I'm talking, I haven't felt like that going into a game against City since they had Ali Benarbia in the middle. Do you know what I mean? Like I've been scared of them since those days. So the fact that we went into this game, I thought that the issues that they were having with Guardiola going to war with the fans
didn't look right, did it?
I felt like they were sort of something was similar in a way. They then had that draw against Southampton where they looked dodgy, and you think, okay, they've now got to come. They've got the worst week of their life. Actually, they've got the worst week of their life. It goes Chelsea away, PSG away, Liverpool away. This could be the beginning of the end. I don't know what I'm talking about. Basically, I don't know what I'm talking about.
City have a knack of doing that, and Pep does have a knack of doing that. So they will run out 1-0 winners against you. Your next game is against Southampton at home. And like you said, City go to Liverpool. For your prediction, give me a prediction, Chelsea-Southampton. Do you think you bounce back now, back to normal? But you saw what Southampton were capable of doing against the strong City side a couple of weeks ago at the Etihad, or by the time you play them, it'll be a couple of weeks ago. Confident of winning that?
Yeah, because that should be a warning sign. Also, Chelsea have now slipped up at home, so we have to win against Southampton. There is no room for any kind of error, and we need to bounce back now. It needs to, we need to win. We've got a big game in Europe, big game against Southampton. Beat them both, and I think then we're back on track. I'm going Chelsea to win that game 3-0 against Southampton.
3-0. I went with 3-0 when Southampton rocked up at the Etihad as well, and it didn't go that way. But I see why he's saying that. And Man City, Liverpool, we'll talk a little bit about both of those teams. But in fact, no, when we talk about Liverpool against Brentford, we'll kind of talk about the Liverpool City game there. My team, Man United. Mate.
We're out of the frying pan into the fire here, aren't we?
Oh, we are, man. And you know what? Look, you can see what's happening. We have these stages with Ollie. It always happens. It's been happening his whole tenure, which is moments of good results and doing okay. Then these little patches where it's like, fucking hell, been 5 games, they've only won 1 and drawn 2 and lost 3. Like when you realize, and then it's Ollie out, and then it's, this is why he's not good enough. What I will say is the lack of style of play. It just continues to catch up with us. I keep saying it. We've got really good players individually, so really good individual moments will happen because you put them players on the pitch. A lot of the time in patches, they will make something happen. There'll be a good sequence of play. We'll open a team up. Mason Greenwood will cut in, score. Pogba, a moment of brilliance. Fernandes outside the box. Obviously Ronaldo. You've got great individuals, but the coaching, the system, the sustainability of how we play, I just worry. I've always said I give Solskjaer to the end of the season to deliver because the squad's there, and 1 loss doesn't change that for me because, it's still early on in the season. We're actually level on points with you, Man City, Liverpool, couple of points ahead. It's not that deep this early, but there's so much warning signs as to what probably will happen, in my opinion. That's what worries me. And against Villa, just, they played really well. They packed out, they went with the 5 at the back. We called it that they would do that. We didn't go for them. And, they had the best chances of the game and could have scored more.
I think you're being really calm, Flex. I think you are being really calm, and I rate it, and I do understand it. I mean, it's not watching you speak there. It was really interesting to me because it reminded me of what people used to say about me when Lampard was Chelsea manager.
Is that what you were saying? Like it's all right, but it's not. We're not sustainable. He hasn't got
I
it.
didn't
Basically.
think that. I didn't think that I was. I thought that what I was saying was total sense and total. And I mean, on some level, it was what Chelsea were trying to do under Lampard was different to what we then did under Tuchel. So I think sometimes though you want something to happen so much that your analytical side of your brain kind of shuts down and your emotional side takes over. And you're saying, you give him to the end of the season. We've seen so many times where he's pulled it out of the bag, and there's so many times where he's got the good results. And we've seen certain players have their performances, the form of Luke Shaw or whatever. You've got to give Ole Gunnar
Yeah.
Solskjaer loads of credit for that. So there are loads of things that he has done well, but I'm afraid it's now getting to the stage. I haven't got a dog in the fight here, right? I don't particularly care, and as your mate, I now kind of want to say, it's over, man. It's
Time.
over.
Yeah, it's time.
It's
It's
done.
time.
Yeah, it really is. I have no vested interest here. I genuinely don't. If I thought he was the right man for the job, there was a time, certainly a year ago, I thought that there was something in it. I remember, in fact, a year ago, well, around December of last year, I did a video saying I thought Man United were going to win the league. So I obviously thought that Solskjaer had the minerals, had what it takes to get back to the winning ways that is associated with Manchester United, particularly if you're of my generation. But what's going on there now? It's so bad. I mean, the line in the sand for me was the game against Villarreal. I know that's our ancient history now, and we don't need to go over.
No, but it hasn't changed since then. It's true. That was the
That
is
was the
it.
line in the sand for me. Manchester United. Like I remember do you remember when you played? I think it was Ajax in the final under Mourinho.
Europa League. Yeah.
Yeah, I was desperate for you to not win that game. Desperate because that equalised Chelsea, Juventus, and Ajax are all were the only three clubs that had won all European trophies. The one you were missing was that one, so I really didn't want you to win it. But it was Manchester United. It wasn't even about Mourinho. It was about Manchester United. It's bigger than a club. It's a footballing institution. It's a landmark on the horizon of football. It's so big, so intimidating, so daunting that when Manchester United, a club of that scale, play Ajax, this is no disrespect to Ajax, I'm aware of the scale.
And Ajax, so a massive football
massive,
club, yeah.
massive. But when Manchester United play Ajax in a neutral venue, the Manchester United that I know and grew up with win, undoubtedly. That can be amplified 100 times for when Manchester United played Villarreal. And you didn't. And you got well beat, and it was Unai Emery pulling the tactical strings, and it was Etienne Capoue embarrassing your brilliant midfield. And that was the time when
midfield's not brilliant.
Brilliant individual midfield.
But I know what you mean.
Brilliant players in paper at least.
Yeah.
And it was that time where I kind of went, okay, that was my moment where I went, he's not the guy. And what the events that have happened since the young boys game, like there were some really weird substitutions in that young boys game where it just didn't make any sense. It like you had 10 men, you were 1-1. And you took off Ronaldo. You're just thinking, what are you doing here? Why are you going for this in this way? Nemanja Matic could have probably come on. Like there were just loads of reasons where you think a better manager gets a point out of that game. And now Aston Villa at home. I mean, what is going on? Do you know the last time Villa's record against Manchester United?
50 odd years ago, yeah.
Mate, do you know the game that Villa won? Do you remember? Do you know this is how long ago it is? There will be people watching this who will only know the quote. You and I probably remember watching the episode, but there will be a whole generation of fans watching this saying, "I know the quote, but I wasn't born." You don't win anything with kids.
Yeah.
That was said off the back of Aston Villa battering Man United. Man United then went on to win the treble.
Is it Alan Hansen said it, didn't he?
Alan Hansen on Match of the Day, but 1998. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how historic this win is for Aston Villa.
I think you're right about a lot of the things you say, and people will say the football guru says Ollie is in the same position as last year when we lost 1-0 to Arsenal and Istanbul back to back. The squad is better though, so there's more pressure. Ali G says respect to Rory spitting facts. Wake up, Flex. Ollie is done out here. He's finished. It's over. A lot of people on the channel have been having their say, and pretty much everyone's Ollie out. And Limiano says Limania says Flex. Ollie is a championship manager. Period. And I agree. I agree with wholeheartedly with a lot of what people are saying and what you're saying, and I can see it. I can see it. I think the only thing that Ollie has in his favour, well, two things, is the board. He's miles off getting sacked. Miles off it. Even if he lost on Wednesday night to Villarreal, he would not get sacked. He wouldn't get sacked. Because it's still early in the season and they're not out of the Champions League. They're not out of the running of the Premier League. They're not out of the FA Cup because it hasn't started yet. And I don't agree with these things. I'm just saying these are the reasons why he will still be there. Safami says reactionaries everywhere because some people still have the thing of like, actually, you know, there's still time for him to turn it around. It's still early. Is Ollie not allowed to lose a game? But one thing I won't budge on this, and this is a valid argument from people who obviously don't want Ollie to be there anymore. That style of football has not improved. We are literally sending players out there to say, you can deliver because you're a good player. And, you know, when that doesn't go wrong, you're not always going to win football matches. You need something to fall back on. You need a style. You need a system. And then when the big moments come, like you said, Rory, where you really earn your corner as a manager, I stood outside that stadium in Gdansk in disbelief, almost uttering the words to myself, he's got to go. But, you know, then we went on to have a decent transfer window. But I was stunned by what I saw or the lack of what I didn't see. You know, he went with his first 11. Rashford dropped a 0 out of 10 in that game, a 0 out of 10. Wouldn't take him off. Even when he did, I think he took off Pogba in the end and made the wrong decision. Went deep into stoppage time before he started making. And then I'll see Unai Emery making 2, 3, 4, 5 changes. You know, so yes, I can see inevitably where this potentially will end up. But Ollie's also got a knack of, which is annoying, but at the same time, you want your team to win. He's got a knack of when it looks like it's really bleak. This month is a really difficult. I just dropped my mic. This month is a real difficult run of games. We've got Villarreal coming up next, then Everton at home. I think Leicester away, Liverpool away, Atalanta in the Champions League. Tough. It's tough. So if he comes out the wrong side of this, you never know. But I do see what you're saying.
I just did a little bit of a quick Google search. Manchester United, listen to this sentence. Manchester United have lost 3 of their last 4 games.
Yeah, in all competitions.
You've already dropped out of, and I don't mean this provocatively, nobody in the comments don't get me, but you've already dropped out of one of the competitions that you realistically have a chance of winning. I mean, look, you might win the Champions League, you might win the Premier League, but you probably won't. You realistically could win the FA Cup. You realistically
at the first hurdle as well. At the first game.
Getting beaten by West Ham at home. Like, the significance of going out of that trophy as well, I think is big. And I know that people like to kind of belittle it and be fairly sneery towards silverware. That's not something that I can embrace at all. I'm very
especially not one that's in February.
Especially when you haven't won a trophy. You haven't won a trophy for 4 years or whatever. Like you can't
be picky.
And look, I don't agree with sneering. I don't think my expression that I always say on my channel is there isn't a club too big and there isn't a trophy too small. All silverware. You want it all. Of course, there are priorities, but you want it all. If Manchester United had stayed in that competition, firstly, you have an opportunity to win it. Winning breeds winning. The success breeds success. The appetite for winning becomes more increased. The harmony around the club is better. But do you know the other thing, the impact that it could have on your side? You've already put yourself under pressure in the Champions League, right? You've already dropped out of the Europa League, out of the League Cup. So you now have very few opportunities to give your squad run-outs, because the fact that you're under pressure in the European Cup means, you see, if Chelsea goes as it should in the European Cup, we might have 2 games spare at the end. You might have qualified with 2, but we'll almost certainly, if it goes well, we'll almost certainly have 1 spare. So that's when the squad get an opportunity to play in European football. That's when Trevor Chalobah gets to play centre-half in the European Cup away in Moscow. Do you know what I mean? It's a big opportunity. You're probably not going to get that in the European Cup because you already lost a game. So it's probably going to go to the 6th game. Now, I'm not saying you won't go through. I think you will. But it's unlikely that you go through with something to spare. So your squad becomes a little bit tighter. You're then out of the League Cup. So again, your squad becomes a little bit tighter. He gave the opportunity to the second string. And they fell out of the cup. So basically, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's left with about 15. He's left with about 15 players that he can choose from. It's really bad. It's really bad for squad harmony.
Yeah, it's not looking good. To move on quickly then, Manchester United, as it stands, we're in 4th, joint with you guys at 13 points, with Man City 13 points, Everton 13 points, and Brighton just below us, who haven't played yet. So if they win tonight, they go above us all. They could go top of the league, actually.
They do, yeah.
Brighton, which will be a tough game for them against Palace. We'll see. Man United's next game is Everton at home. What do you predict for us?
Flex. I mean, out of love
Do you
and
think this is
respect
it? Do you
for
think
you
this
and
is
your.
gonna? No. Say what you feel. Say what you feel, man. This
Okay,
is
to be
United
totally
thing.
honest, I think it's got a draw written all over it.
Yeah, and Wednesday night Villarreal
I think you
draw
beat them.
again.
No, I
You
think
think
you
we'll
beat
beat
them.
them?
Yeah, I think you beat
So if that, do you think this is the start, like snowball effect of a downhill spiral? Do you think?
No, I think it's. I think that it can't be viewed in like a smaller case study as this. It isn't. These couple of games aren't the start of a spiral. This is a massive snowball that has been spiraling downhill for a long time. What I do rate about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is that he will pull it out the bag. So when you do have a massive game, you'll probably win it. You'll
That's
probably
what I
win it.
said. No, but that always happens. That always happens. But sometimes it's at the detriment of the long-term progress, because that's what we want to see, instead
Yeah.
of short-termism. And okay, let's move on. Arsenal versus Spurs. Spurs absolutely steamrolled. Spurs absolutely embarrassed, shocking, awful. Arsenal from minute 1 to the end, everything right. Brilliant performance from them. Arteta starting to get some players back and get a little bit of continuity. Ramsdale standing out, Tommy Asu right back standing out. Their attacking players yesterday definitely showed up all over the pitch. They were superb. Spurs, man, what's my God, they are bad. They are bad, bro.
Yeah, do you know what? It's very difficult, isn't it? When you do when you do a review and try and analyze it and give our opinions on this, what we don't want to do is focus on Tottenham, because Arsenal deserve credit. Arsenal deserve
Yeah,
plaudits. But
100%.
when Tottenham were that bad, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to like praise. You have to praise Arsenal, and you're right. Tommy Yasu, brilliant. I thought what Ben White did to Harry Kane was brilliant. I
Yeah,
know there was a penalty in there, but 95% of what Ben White did to Harry Kane,
roughed him up, man.
brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
I mean, Tommy Yasu. I mean,
he
he
looks
really
really good.
he subdued Heung-min Son, didn't he? Made him very
Yeah,
subdued. I know Son scored again, but you know, it kept him quiet. You look at the midfield. I thought Xhaka and Partey together. On one level, it sounds fairly unambitious, doesn't it? Two holding
yeah,
midfielders, but it was actually great. Like the way that they played, they were kind of starting the attacks. And yeah, I mean, brilliant. And look, they were what 3-0 up after about half hour.
yeah.
Do,
Pass the
do you know?
pad,
Do
mate.
you know what? I was in Finsbury Park yesterday. Funnily enough, when
Oh
this
God.
game was going, I know, not ideal, but you know, like Finsbury Park is obviously near the Emirates, but it's not on top of the Emirates.
Yeah,
I could hear the goals. You know, like the relief, the relief, the passion from the Arsenal fans scoring those goals. It meant so much to them. All points are equal, right? But do you remember like that book? Do you remember Animal Farm? Did you do Animal Farm at school where they're like
yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I remember
all
that.
animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. All
Yeah,
points are equal, right? All points are equal, but some points are more equal than others. And the fact that Arsenal took 3 points against Tottenham to go level with them after Tottenham's start, it's it's massive. And do you know what? Two things I thought were really significant about Tottenham. The first thing, I saw Harry Kane at the end of the game. He went over to clap the Tottenham fans. Flex, there's about a dozen of them left.
yeah. They all fucked off. They all
About a
went,
dozen
mate.
of them.
Gone.
And the other
Yeah.
thing, I counted the days. 16 days ago today, Nuno Espirito Santo, manager of the month. 16 days.
Maybe that shows you how quick football can turn around.
Mate, I know. A week's I know. Can you
What is the
believe that?
future? What is the future of this Spurs team? Because that Harry Kane, obviously, look, when they keep playing crap, everyone just says, "Oh, it's Harry Kane, he don't want to be there anymore. He's mentally checked out. He's gone." Which I do agree with. We don't want to be there. We know he doesn't want to be there. He said it,
Yeah.
and it didn't sell him. But now, with the transition with Nuno there, the lack of players, the lack of quality. I look at them in midfield. Dele Alli hooked at half time, awful. And Dombele, all right, cool. He might do a little pirouette. He might make someone. Then he just can't complete 90 minutes. He's not a good runner. He's not a good passer. He's not a good shooter. I don't see that in him. You have to bring on people like Skip, Højbjerg running around doing nothing. Like, they're a mess. I think they're actually a mess.
They're a mess. I mean, and we knew they were a mess. Like the 1-0 wins at the beginning of the season.
They
didn't
weren't even proper.
No, they weren't proper. They weren't proper. They didn't tell us anything that we didn't already know. Like
No.
you remember when we went into that first international break and Tottenham fans were going, we're top of the league. Like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
You're not. You might be sitting there, right? But you're not. You're not actually top of the league. You're not playing like a team that are top of the league. So it was all very misleading. I also just think that their manager isn't very good. You know, like he was their ninth choice Nuno.
Well,
And
there
the
says it
reason
there.
was not-
Three managers denied taking over Spurs before Nuno did. Says everything about that club when managers don't want to be there.
Mate, it was the longest managerial saga. It's the longest managerial appointment ever, and it could be over within 2 months. Like he's so defensive. It's not in keeping with the traditions of Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham Hotspur are a club that I don't especially like. I have a lot of antipathy towards Tottenham, but what I do rate about them is their tradition. You know, they have a way of playing the game. They've always prioritized the expansive way to play football. You know, when you look back at their heroes, it's all Chris Waddle, Glenn Hoddle, Ozzy Ardiles, it's Gareth Bale. He was born to play for Spurs. It's that kind of attitude.
Gaza.
Gaza, absolutely. Nuno Espirito Santo is the antithesis. Espirito Santo is Jose Mourinho, but without the charm,
but
without the track record. Yeah.
Without the money in the bank. Exactly.
Exactly.
Without that bit that you hang on to and go, oh, he probably will win us a League Cup, though. We might win us this just to get us going. He just doesn't have it. It looks like a sinking ship.
And Harry Kane looking terrible. I mean, look, there was a boxing match at their stadium, wasn't there? And yesterday's game, if that was a boxing match, the referee would have called it off after about 3 rounds. It was over, wasn't it? It wasn't a fair
it was bad
fight. But Arsenal,
they
wicked, man. Wicked for
them. So Arsenal running out 3-1 winners. Arsenal travel to Brighton next. Spurs have got, let me just quickly check. Spurs have Aston Villa next at home. Not easy. Not easy. Not easy at all. Give me a prediction for Villa Tottenham.
I think Villa beat them.
Villa.
I think Villa beat them. Yeah, I think Villa beat them 2-1.
Okay. And the next game for Arsenal, Brighton away.
Oh, well, I tell you what, that will be a little bit of a marker for Arsenal, won't it? Because the 3 wins that they've got in recent weeks, they've been against 3 very poor teams. Brighton on form. Brighton could be top of the league going into that game. Brighton are also a team that have upset Arsenal in the past, aren't they? They've been they have. Do you remember that geezer laughing his head off as Arsenal didn't qualify for the Champions League? I think Arsenal beat them now. Do you know what we were saying earlier in this video, Flick? When I was talking about like the prestige of Manchester United playing Villarreal, and I can't look beyond that.
Yeah,
I'm a little bit like that with Arsenal, and maybe it's because I'm from North London, but I'm aware of the traditions of Arsenal Football Club, the scale, the size, the marble halls. Of course, they beat Brighton. Like it doesn't. Of course, I can't see a world where they don't beat Brighton.
Yeah, I think they'll get the job done as well. Namir says it in the chat there, 2-1 Arsenal. I think they will. Arsenal are a confidence team. When they get in that little groove where they're confident, they can go on little runs, can't they? Little mini runs here and there. And it's typical of Arsenal. Like when you laugh at them early in the season, when your team's not playing them and they're getting spanked, you laugh at them. But then they always get it together, and then near when your team plays them or something, they're actually very difficult to beat, and we can't beat them. That really annoys me. Since Ollie's come, we beat Arsenal. I don't know how, but yeah, they're getting it together. They're getting it together. I'll go with 2-1 Arsenal win, and the Spurs 1. 1-1.
I think you've gone for I can't see Tottenham. Yeah. Really, you think they get a point there?
I'm being optimistic for them, but yeah, I think maybe they salvage a point. But Villa, I saw them firsthand last week do the thing on us. So actually, no, 2-1 Villa.
I'm with you.
2-1 Villa. Yeah. Moving on. What a game at the Brentford Community Stadium. Brentford 3, Liverpool 3. Just shows you all out going for it. Action, energy, goals, saves. It had everything. Atmosphere. Only 17,000 in that little stadium, but fantastic atmosphere. How do you see Brentford at the minute? We're going Brentford.
I mean, I got them completely wrong. I got Brentford completely.
Yeah, when we talking, I think you was like, teams like this shouldn't be. You said something.
Yeah, I just relegated them. I just relegated them straight away.
I'm so glad you said you got it completely wrong.
Yeah,
brilliant for football, Rory. It's brilliant for football.
Yeah, they got it. I definitely didn't expect this. I really like them now as well. I like their manager. I like their manager. I like
I
Ivan
was saying
Toney.
that to you
Yeah.
from round one, and you were like, "No, I
No,
only know
no.
about two players. I only know
Flex,
two things."
there's only so many times I got it wrong, man. This is I got it wrong. I didn't see
Fair
this.
play, fair
I
play.
didn't see this coming. I said that Norwich and Brentford were down and out before the season had started. Like, just forget about it. And it's definitely not that for Brentford. Massive win against Arsenal opening day, to then prove that that wasn't an anomaly by going punch for punch with Liverpool is unreal. Really, it's actually unreal, because this Liverpool team are serious. They're serious contenders. They are full of superstars. So really massive from them, and their manager. I like the
He's
way he
brilliant.
conducts himself. He's brilliant, but I like the way he conducts himself as well. He's kind of everything I want to be. Have you seen that? All he really does is talk about drinking red wine. Have you seen that in every interview?
Yeah, in the interview, yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I love this kid. All he does is go, oh, well, we can have a nice bottle of red now. I'm like, oh, can we be mates? Could like,
He is wicked.
geezer.
You
Yeah.
can't like not see his energy, and his energy is infectious. The way they celebrate with the fans. Even I think there was a chance right at the end where the Brentford keeper saved it, and him and Klopp just had this exchange that were like, fucking hell, we're in a game, innit? Like, fair play. This is all.
I saw that. It's a nice reaction, wasn't it? It was a nice moment
reaction
between them. Yeah.
Nice moment. Liverpool though, is it just a case of this just shows how good a side like Brentford are, new to the league? You go there, you're going to get a tough afternoon, because Liverpool scored some really good goals, but defensively kept conceding as well. So is it just a little bit of one of those games, bit of a shootout?
I think it's 2 points drop for Liverpool. Actually, I think it's 2 points drop. There were a couple of moments.
Winning positions every time.
One in particular, Mo Salah went through, and it sort of bobbled up. He tried to chip the keeper, but he ended up having not the best first touch, which put a bobble on the ball, and then he ended up shinning it over the bar, and that would have made the game 4-2, which would have been game over.
Yeah.
And you put your house on him scoring, wouldn't you, Mohamed Salah?
Definitely.
So I think it's 2 points drop for Liverpool. Not ideal, because they're going into that game against Man City. And if Man City win that off the back of their performance at Stamford Bridge, it's a marker, man. Yeah, it's a marker.
Yeah.
It's a marker.
Already, when everyone's saying they've got no striker, they're not going to do nothing, and they go and pull off results like that.
Yeah, but they don't need a striker, though, do they? Because they've got about 8 players that's going to score double figures.
Yeah, the way they play and the types of goals they score, they're all team goals. You don't need one individual to be at the helm. Reyes says, have to be Ollie out. Too much faith in McFred. Bad tactics. Relies on his coaches too much. Bad subs. Saying we had a go at West Ham is not on Ollie out. And I just think, what would United be with Zidane? So a lot of people still on the Ollie thing. Yeah, I think that was a great game. Great game to see. Great spectacle. And I think Brentford have showed that they're really here to not just make up the numbers. They are here to give it a go. They are here to go at every team in the same way. And it's refreshing. I like that. I mean, Leeds did it last year and a bit more found out now. But it worked. And it's like they take teams by surprise. You don't really know how to approach games against them. You haven't really worked them out. And the more difficult for them to be for them would be obviously next season, given they stay up, to how to sustain that. But right now they're a breath of fresh air. And I think they're gonna ride that kind of breath of fresh air train, where they're just riding off that new energy, the new atmosphere at Brentford. Teams not really sure how to set up against them, not knowing when they're beat, keep going. I think they continue to get some real good results.
I do as well. I think that the way they've set up is just not what I expected. But I'm very, very impressed with Brentford. And I mean, I think now you go, this is the best compliment I can pay them. We're not that far into the season, but I've totally reassessed, and they're going nowhere near the relegation zone. They've got more chance of making Europe than getting relegated.
Exactly. Well, next up for Brentford is an informed West Ham from the last 2 games, beating Man United in the Carabao Cup, and obviously beating Leeds in the last minute. Brentford, West Ham at West Ham next week.
Do you know what? Flex West Ham are my sort of look. Chelsea and West Ham. There's no love lost. There's a serious rivalry there, but there's something quite enjoyable about West Ham I'm finding at the moment, and I think West Ham will beat Brentford. Yeah, I think West Ham will beat Brentford. Just
okay. I'm going to match you on that. I think Antonio coming back, getting that winner. I mean, we'll talk a little bit about West Ham Leeds in a minute. They went on a little bit of a blip. We gave them their first defeat of the season, but even that loss was like, you look at the circumstances of what happened towards the end of the game, they should have really got a draw. You get a penalty like that. Mark Noble never misses. David De Gea never saves. It was just the footballing gods doing that thing that they do every so often. But really, they probably, on a balance of it, they probably should have got a draw. Then they dust themselves off, play their second string against our second string and beat us up, knock us out of the cup. And then they go and win that game in the last minute. So, yeah, I think West Ham will win that. But big up to Brentford and Liverpool City quickly. Do Liverpool bounce back there?
I don't think they. Do you know what?
Draw? Or you think
No,
they
I
lose?
don't think so. I just think City's performance against Chelsea. I'm judging it on that. Really, I am. If you were asking me this before Chelsea had lost to City, I would have said that I think Liverpool win the game. Like I thought Chelsea were going to beat City.
Yeah.
But that result from Man City, that performance from Man City at Stamford Bridge, it was a statement. And I heard it, man. It resonated in me. It was an incredible, dazzling, one of the best performances I've seen at Stamford Bridge for years. One of the best Premier League performances I think we've seen for years. It was a 1-0 walloping against the European champions. And for that, I'm finding it very hard to see beyond Man City for the game against Liverpool, but also for the league title.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to go with a draw in that one. I don't think Liverpool lose. I do think they concede. I do think Man City score for sure. I'm going to go with 1-1 on that one. They do have it all to do, though. They do, because like you said, if City do win that game, back-to-back tough away games, you don't want City building up momentum too early. Last year, they gave everyone a chance because they started so badly in the first sort of 8 to 10 games. Then the middle part of the season, what was it? What they do? They won like 15 in a row, 20 in a row, something like that.
They're the team. They broke the record, didn't they? But they're the team. That's why I think they could always win the league, because I feel like they're the only team that can go on those runs. 18 out of 18 and all that. They're the only team. And that's when you win the league. You know, Antonio Conte did that with Chelsea that year when we won it in, 17. We set a new record. I think we went 13 games unbeaten over Christmas. So those runs that you go on ultimately are what set you up to win the league. And I just think City are the only side that can really go on a run like that.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on, Leicester Burnley 2-2. Burnley nearly winning it in the last minute. What's got into Brendan Rodgers' side not doing too well this season? They sit in 13th. You know, they've lost 3, drawn 2.
Well, I don't want to say I told you so.
1. You were saying this.
I don't want to say I told you so. You know, like I'm very open to say I get it wrong, right? I definitely called Brentford. Totally got it wrong, and I hold my hands up. I got it wrong. Leeds United last season, totally got it wrong. Brendan Rodgers is a drum I've been banging for a long time. I don't think he's a bad manager.
I still don't know why though. He's a good manager though.
It's not that I don't. It's not that he's not a good manager. My issue isn't that. My issue is that he isn't the manager that everyone thinks he is. Like, you know, when big jobs become available. You know, when the Arsenal job was available, and people were going Brendan Rodgers. I'm like, no. I think Brendan Rodgers is a very good manager for Leicester. I think he's.
Well, you don't think he's a better manager than Arteta, Brendan Rodgers?
I don't think he's. I don't think he's a better manager long term. I think it's an unfair comparison because Arteta is in the infancy of his career. Brendan Rodgers has been managing for well over a decade. So in terms of where they were at that point, you know, Brendan Rodgers had some very bad times early in his career, Reading and all that. So in terms of when they've been managing for the same amount of time, I think it's fair to say that Arteta was better. In terms of today, it's unfair because
the longevity.
The longevity, But no, in terms of who I think is better for Arsenal, Mikel Arteta undoubtedly. I just don't think Brendan Rodgers is the guy that people think he is. I think he could do a great job for Celtic. I think he could do a great job for Leicester. But that's the level.
What? That's the ceiling. You're saying
that's the ceiling. Yeah, and that's what I've always said.
But what's the ceiling with Leicester? Could he break into Champions League?
No,
could he?
No, I don't think so. I think they're never going to have a better chance than they had the past 2 seasons.
2 seasons, in a row.
2 seasons they messed it up in 2 seasons. Both seasons, by the way, people were saying it's going to be Leicester a third, like guaranteed, and then everyone else is competing for fourth. Last year it was like, will it be Chelsea? Will it be Liverpool? Who's going to get
one that could sneak in? Yeah.
And then ultimately they both got there because Leicester made a pig's ear of it, as they did the year before.
Yeah.
It's not that he's not a good manager. He won the FA Cup for them. It's the first time they've won it in their history.
He's a good manager.
There's a ceiling, and the bit that really gets to me, and this is where I argue with Adi Oladipo about this a lot on Airflex.
Yeah.
When a big job becomes available, when they're talking about Man United, when they're talking about Arsenal, when they're talking about whatever club, I mean top tier clubs, Addy will always say to me, Brendan Rodgers. And I just think, no, what are you doing? He's clearly not that guy. The fact that he didn't win the league with Liverpool practically a decade ago.
Yeah.
and we've seen him constantly fall at the last hurdle. Liverpool didn't win the league from the best position they could have possibly been in. Leicester didn't qualify for Europe from the best position they could have possibly been in. Leicester didn't qualify for Europe again from the best position they could have possibly been in. There is a theme here, and for me, he isn't the guy that people think he is.
Strong words from Rory. I disagree with some of what you say, not all. I get what you're saying about
people
falling
disagree with
over
me
the
on this
hurdle.
one. People disagree with me on this
people.
one.
I know because he is a bit of a darling. I understand that, the football darling, and I just look at the job he's done at Leicester and what he's taken them to. You know, for a club like Leicester, and it's no disrespect, to even be in that constant conversation of saying, well, they've kicked Arsenal out the top 6. They are an established top 6 side. Leicester, they've won the league more recently, not under Brendan Rodgers, but they've won the league as a club. This is more Leicester love, to be fair, but they've won the league, you know, more recent than Man United have. You know, they're a very well run club. But just back to Brendan Rodgers, I just feel like I feel like what he's done though to them is give them that aspiration consistently of saying, well, that's what we should do to set that standard. Yeah, we should get Europe. You know, maybe not now because of, like you're saying, the teams have improved in Man United, in Chelsea, in Liverpool, where it's like, okay, they're a shoo-in. The top 4 will probably be the top 4 now, unless they can't really compete with the types of signings that they've made and stuff like that. But I still feel he's done a brilliant job. Like I said, to win their first FA Cup in that long, then he's won the Community Shield. I know it's only the Community Shield, but again, it just brings that bit of confidence. But now we are looking at it though, they're on a real bad run. And, you know, to keep it moving, so I know we haven't got long left. That, you know, 2-2 against Burnley, and their next game is, why can't I see it? Oh, Palace away. What's your prediction?
They'll win that. They'll beat Palace comfortably, I think. Yeah, they'll beat Palace.
Yeah,
but they do need to get some wins together, because if Leicester
need to get some wins quick.
They're going to get left behind. It will become too difficult to make the European spots if they don't start winning soon.
Okay, elsewhere in the league, let's go to Newcastle Watford. That was a 1-1 draw. I thought Watford would sneak that 2-1 because Newcastle just can't. They don't keep much clean sheets, which I knew both teams would score, but they're struggling for a win, and they went 1-0 up, and again struggling for a win. Ismail Assar again doing his thing. How do you see Watford's chances of staying up, and their next game, which is against Leeds away?
I think Leeds will beat Watford. I think Watford will go down. I think Watford will go. But you know when there's quite often a big club pulled into the relegation battle that you wouldn't expect,
like a Newcastle.
Yeah, Newcastle could be the team this year. I think they're a total shambles. I think their manager's so out of his depth. I think the club are being run into the ground. The momentum of the club has been totally stifled. The point isn't to succeed. The point is to build the club up into a Premier League asset to sell. And I just don't quite understand what's going to happen there. I think they get out of jail because they have a couple of really good players. A couple of really good players will get them out of jail and probably keep them in the league. But he's
always fighting that, isn't he, Bruce? He's always fighting that.
But if someone is going to be dragged into a relegation battle, like a big club that makes it really exciting, it will be Newcastle United or Leeds United, won't it?
And won't that? Can't you see, like, maybe someone like Watford capitalising on that and being able to stay up? You know, Watford sit mid-table now in 12th. You know, a lot of teams doing worse. Even Southampton ain't got a win this year. They could be one of the teams to kind of. Burnley haven't got a win this year. Norwich, horrendous, definitely will go down. Leeds haven't got a win. So there's a lot of teams so far after 6 games, a hell of a lot worse than Watford at the moment.
Yes.
But it's still going to, I get it will be tough game by game. They've got a really tough October coming up as well.
There was that run they went on, Watford, where I just thought, oh God, you know, they lost 3 in a row, didn't they? At least 3 in a row. I mean,
last week, when they were last in the league?
No, this time. Didn't they have a spell where they lost 3 in a row? I'm sure they did.
I don't think they did. I don't think they didn't win for that. Let me get my facts right. So they have lost. Yeah, so they have lost 3 games. I don't know if they were definitely.
I think they all came in a row. I think
okay, fair enough.
Because that was what I remember. But I'm kind of regurgitating my WhatsApp chat group stuff.
Yeah.
But in the group I was in, we were saying, they're done. Like losing 3 in a row like that, we just assumed it would become 4, 5, 6. And the fact that it didn't.
Yeah, sorry, it was Brighton, Tottenham, Wolves. That was it.
Yeah,
they lost 2 in a row.
That was the 3. So it was those.
But then they beat Norwich, and then they got a draw against Watford, against Newcastle. So
turned it round a touch.
Yeah,
But you see
yeah,
those 3 teams that they lost to, at that point, I thought they were down because all the 3 teams they lost to were fairly dodgy. And they
yeah.
lost all 3 and three consecutive defeats at the bottom like that, problematic. So the fact that they have, look, I suppose they need to keep it going, don't they? They
That's
need
it.
a minimum
That's
of
it.
a point. They need a minimum of a point this weekend.
Yeah, and their manager's really inexperienced, Cisco, at this level. So we'll have to wait and see if he can do it. I know there's a lot of rumblings in their fan base of, can he do it at this level? And Watford's model is similar to Chelsea's, mate. If it ain't going right, mate, see you later.
Yeah, they're
Simple.
spenders. Yeah.
And yeah, they just like laters, mate, get out. Which has worked for them. So hopefully, I've tipped them to stay up. We'll see if they do. And then the next game I want to talk about is Leeds. I know that's against Watford. So what do you think will happen in that game?
I think Leeds will win. I think they have to win.
Yeah.
But if Leeds don't win, then the clubs we're talking about, somebody gets dragged into it. Then it's potentially Leeds. In fact, if Watford beat Leeds are in a relegation battle.
Yeah, 100%. And they play so open; they can see so many chances. I can see Watford get some joy. Burnley, Norwich, real quickly. That's coming up. Norwich are really, really struggling. Burnley don't have a win.
Burnley, this could be their year. This could be their year, Burnley. Yeah, but I don't think it will be. I rate Sean Dyche. I think he's really good. He signed that new deal, and I think that this is the time where we will be able to judge it. Look, if if Norwich win, all of a sudden they're not bottom. But I can't see that happening, and I think that Burnley will be on 5 points, leaving Norwich like insurmountably behind.
Rooted on the bottom, man. I agree with that. I think a 2-0 Norwich win, Burnley win there. And to finish off, Wolves against Newcastle. Good win for Wolves last night. Great goal by Raul Jimenez.
Great goal
against Southampton for a really good goal. And like we just discussed, Newcastle's struggles. And this game is at Molineux. Think Wolves can finally get a bit of continuity. They had a good performance against Watford, then fell off after that. Now they're back again with another win. Can they build?
The problem for Wolves is they just can't score goals. I know they scored yesterday, big win, but they really do struggle to score enough goals. And I feel like this. Do you know what? I'm going to go for a draw here. I can't separate these two. I just can't separate them. What do you think?
Yeah. I feel like Wolves. I'll go Wolves. I feel like Wolves will find that little bit of continuity. They've been playing well. Like in the first 3 games and that when they couldn't buy a win, and I think then they played us third game and didn't win again. And they deserve. I don't know how they didn't score. I don't know how they did not score. And the Adama Traore is kind of wasteful. Same against Leicester. They should have scored in that game. Same against can't remember who it was in their first game, but they someone else, and they should have won. They should have won or at least scored. And I feel like they'll get the job done. And Newcastle, mate, honestly, I just think they're really, really struggling. Honestly, I worry for them. I really do. So I'll go over. I'm going to go over 2-1 win for Wolves there. Actually, 2-0. No, because so Maximum gives the moments. They'll score 2-1 Wolves. And lastly, because I know you've got to go, Everton. Obviously play Man United. I know you think that was a draw all over, but just on Everton in general, what have you made of them under Rafa?
I've been really surprised. I thought that it was going to go so badly there. Obviously, I'm a Chelsea fan. We've experienced life under Rafael Benitez. And in a very similar way to Everton, we didn't want him. He isn't somebody that we empathise with. He isn't somebody that we particularly like. And we still don't. But he has really surprised me. Everton haven't yet really played anyone. That's the only... He's done very well. He's done really well, Benitez. I mean, some of the signings have been great. Some of the results have been great. But they haven't yet had a huge fixture. So this will be the test.
Big one at Old Trafford.
Do you think you win that?
Worried about... Fucking hell, mate. Yeah. Does that sound confident? Yeah, I do.
Fully understood, mate.
This week, because that's how inconsistent we are. This week can literally go any way. It really can. It really can. We are capable of drawing, losing, or beating Everton. I know that's quite cliche, but I'm worried. I need to see how we perform against Villarreal, see if we can get any confidence before I answer that question. One game at a time, Rory. Game at time. Listen, man, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for coming through as usual. We have loads of different guests come through on the overview a month, so you'll see Rory here or there. And yeah, your channel, your link is in the description below, guys. So make sure you go and head over to Rory's channel and subscribe. Drop a like on his profile and subscribe as well. And big up, bro. Thanks for coming through.
Hey, I loved it. Thank you so much for having me, and thanks everybody for watching. I've really had a good time. Flex, I'll speak to you soon, mate. See you soon.
Big up. Nice one. Nice one.
Bye.
Jamal Abdul says, I will be at OT on Saturday. Can't wait to see you. Flex as well. And yeah, big up to yourself. Guys, we're nearly at 75K as well. Hopefully we can get about 100 more today as well. So let's get to 75K. We're on 74.9. Let's do that. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe if you are new. I am out of here, guys. Peace.